Hello, once again, everybody watching and listening for some more Mechabellum. I'm going Supply Specialist with Stormcallers and Arclights in this game, and my opponent will see what he picks. I don't actually remember because it has been, I think, a couple of days since playing this game. He does pick the pack with Phoenix and Arclight with Rhino Specialist. Alright. Let's just speed through the first round a bit. So, supply specialist, I did decide to do that. I decided to just kinda forfeit round number 1 to the Phoenixes. I don't think it's a particularly big deal or a bad move against the Phoenixes, simply because you kinda have to build a bit of a board first. If you go for marksman instantly, I think it's not particularly a great choice. If I had some chaff from the start, I think it would have been a lot better for choice, but I didn't, so... well, no. There's a nice little duel in the middle, but the Stormcaller is going to carry it for my team. Only moments before the Phoenix shot kills the Arclight. I do get everything on the ground dead that my opponent has, but of course I had nothing against the Phoenixes. Round number 2, instant reinforcements. Wraith, Sabertooth, not really that good into Phoenixes. I guess the same goes for Scorpions, but at least Scorpions are really good into a lot of other things. This got changed recently. It now has a 50-meter photon emission. I think that's half the range of Overlords. And I think it's a bit weaker. It lasts only 20 seconds. I want to say the Overlords last for 25 seconds. The Overlord photon emission. Could be wrong though. My opponent is going for the Sabertooth, which into the Scorpion is actually not that great for my opponent. I am dropping some additional chaff here that can probably also deal with Phoenixes. I'm kind of not sure if I wanted to build Marksman into this board. And my opponent buys out in round number 2. He buys out at Mass Recruit, so he's down some... what is this? Yeah, it should be 150 bucks. One Stormcaller goes down, but the Scorpion does take the hit pretty nicely. Chaff situation in the middle, definitely in favor of my opponent. The Scorpion now completely exposed. But it does take out the tank. This tank probably goes down to the Stormcallers if they fire again. Yeah, they fire again. However, you can already see it. There's not enough fangs left to kill the Phoenixes. Not even one of the Phoenixes. So unfortunately I lose the round again. But I don't think it's a bad choice either. Because, well, you just have some additional late chaff. And you can always use that in the later rounds. Almost always. Unless there is literally a sea of fire here. My opponent does now only have 400 bucks, while I have 750. So he did really... I don't know what he actually got, honestly. What did he use that money for? Am I stupid in some way? I'm not sure. I didn't even really check. I was too focused on what I was doing than to look at what my opponent was doing. So I didn't really check what he used that money for. Ah, who cares? Anyway, Rhino flank. I do have some chaff here. And that is another reason why I like having some chaff in this position. You simply make it harder for your opponent to flank you. Or, I guess, combat power drop you. What do I do this round, though? I did mass recruit, but what do I go for? Probably another Scorpion. I like my symmetry. No, I'm actually getting more chaff. Did I really save 400 in the bank there? Oh, I think I was... maybe I was trying to go for fortresses and save some money for it. Anyhow. That Rhino flank is going to be successful, but it definitely is not going in as quickly as my opponent would have wanted it to. The fangs are pretty good against the Rhino as just a delay. However, it is still quickly enough for my entire front line to collapse. I guess even without the Rhino it would not have mattered much, but at least I got more out of my units than I would have gotten if that Rhino had taken the flank quicker or sooner. There is a deployment specialist out. Nano repair kit, orbital strike. I'm going for the orbital strike. Elite Mustang maybe even worth a thought, but there's already Stormcrawlers on the board for my side of the board. So I don't think it's that amazing. And I guess it's kind of bad into the orbital. My opponent goes for the orbitals, goes for the deployment specialist. I sold the Scorpion and instead started dropping fortresses. So yeah, that's why I was saving money. And I can already unlock Barrier. I'm not sure if I do that right now, but I think it makes sense against a potential orbital. However, my opponent is now dropping an actual level 2 Rhino. It is round 4, so he gets one. Along with some crawlers into this flank. Now, where do I put these? I put them in the other corner. Oh, yeah. I think I was kind of gambling on him maybe trying to mix it up and put it into the other corner. He did not. That said, the orbital was absolutely brutal. It took out both the Phoenixes here already. And it took out one of the Arclights. So there is almost nothing left here, but also there is almost nothing left to even fight this here. Stormcrawlers do take out the tank. On this side, I did not really have a lot of chaff clear. So, unfortunately, I don't even remotely win as much as I would have wanted to. Late chaff is doing what it can, but late chaff is not all-powerful in any way. I do have a decent amount of forces here, and there's not going to be much happening under the tower debuff. There's nothing really in range to do. Unfortunately, the Phoenixes had locked onto the tower, and that is just the end for my units here. Overall, I didn't even know that if you put a fortress here, it will still go after a flank in this position. That is kind of incredible to see, because you'd think it would move forward, but there is nothing here to aggro the fortress, so I guess that is the reason. It's the closest thing. I'm putting, because this has the highest level progress, it killed a level 2 Rhino after all. I'm putting the Amp Core here. Amp Core got nerfed, by the way. It's no longer 75% bonus on everything. It's now just 60%. I'm dropping some missiles against the Phoenixes. That should help me a great deal. My opponent, he has range on the Arclights, so maybe he was thinking about carry Arclights, but he is now switching into melting points. Which makes absolute sense against somebody who's dropping multiple fortresses. And we'll see what happens. So I didn't really want to commit into this flank anymore, but I also didn't really want to put anything away from it. Phoenixes did survive here, they didn't even take damage, but this Phoenix is already heavily damaged. Now this missile salvo should be, yeah, it should know at least one of the Phoenixes. I still have some later chaff here, some crawlers arriving, but there's not much other than that. This smelter has already locked onto one of the fortresses. The fortress is attacking the melter. And late chaff once again, super handy. The melter is really bad at chasing down fortresses. It can't do any significant amount of damage, and this melter has died, I guess, to the Stormcrawlers. So now I'm taking this round of my opponent and doing some decent damage finally. I think that was the first round I won, actually. Laser sights, a potential option. Incendiary bomb is another potential option, but we go for laser sights, both of us. Now, what do I even put them on? I think I was putting them on a fortress, but I could absolutely be wrong here. This fortress leveled, so now technically it has the same stats, I think, as a level 3.2 fortress with the Amp Core. Or did I just hang on to these laser sights? I'm really unsure what I did with them. My opponent is going for some more melters. One of the melters has this module on it. I'm going for some better chaff clear in the form of Arclights that will stay behind the fortress and hopefully not get killed as quickly. But what else am I doing? I still have 800 in the bank, which is enough to drop just 2 more fortresses. And I really can't resist dropping more fortresses. It's probably not the right choice. I think the right choice would have probably been going for Rocket Punch to take out the melters better and get some additional chaff down. I think that would have been the superior option. But you know, fun and fortresses. Both start with F, and both are amazing. My opponent is no longer has the Rhino in the flank here. The fortress definitely is a hard counter unless the Rhino is super in your face. Multiple AoE missile attacks, multiple anti-air missile attacks are taking out the Phoenixes very reliably. The Melters are definitely doing their job, but now I am actually good on chaff clear, and my chaff is too much for my opponent to handle right now. So I guess maybe it was a decent choice with the arc lights, because I win the chaff war, and that means these Melters aren't going to do all that much. Sure, some fortresses will die, but there's always more chaff to go around right now. For this melter, that's too much. And it's starting to really turn around. My opponent is now down to less than 1,500 health, which means that any round can definitely be the end. Hackers drop. My opponent is apparently going for the Mustangs. I guess that is chaff clear. I am going for these hackers because I think I was getting rid of the chaff pretty well. So maybe I can start locking onto something bigger, like for example melters. That said, it's pretty poor of a choice into these Mustangs. I'm not sure if I should have put this hacker here. Anyway, I am getting, and this is a poor choice as well, I'm getting some wasps in the round where the Mustangs drop. I guess I just plain didn't think of them. I was only thinking of them as a potential finisher to go against these melting points, but my opponent now has 4 units of ranged Mustangs, so that's pretty nice. I do end up going for 2 shields because I can't afford the shield tech, even if I buy out. The fortresses with items also have a level, which I think is good. That Rhino should not be doing anything. Like, I expect this fortress to turn around and kill it. Maybe even the hacker will do that. Yep, the hacker turns around. The fortress actually doesn't. So now I kinda get a free Rhino. Chaff clear, however, is looking so much more into my opponent's favor right now. And that means he's getting rid of my fortresses left, right, and center. I should have seen it coming. I did not expect it, and that is why this round is definitely a loss that I had to deal with. Also, the hackers aren't it. They can't really hack anything that is important now that the chaff situation is so much in favor of my opponent. So I get absolutely wrecked this round. I think that is just it, right? Yep, that is just it. And this is what happens when you don't pay attention to the unit drops. And you kinda only have tunnel vision on what you want to get and what you want to try. The hackers were a throw, the wasps were a throw, and that was throw enough for my opponent to win the entire match. Just with this one round turning it around and I guess doing a lot of damage earlier. So, yeah, let that be a lesson to yourselves. Always pay attention to the unit drops. Don't be like me, win your games. Until next time, everybody, I hope you had a lot of fun watching this.